Hey friends, and welcome to the Mom Sweat Sanity Podcast. I'm Brittany, accountability coach for women who know they're made for more. This is a space where ambition meets real life, where we talk fitness, family, personal growth, leadership, and all the what the hell is happening right now moments in between. Around here, we don't chase perfection. We build momentum. We push comfort zones, ask better questions, and take real action on the goals that matter most. Each week, you'll hear honest conversations, powerful guests, and grounded reminders that you don't have to choose between showing up for your life and going after your potential. So whether you're walking, sweating, driving, or hiding in your car for 5 quiet minutes, you're in the right place. This is your permission to stop playing small in your own life. Let's get into it. Okay, friends, welcome back. I am really excited to get to know today's guest. She is a spiritual mentor, best-selling author, and speaker whose presence alone makes women really drop into deeper truth, embody conviction, and unapologetically live for themselves. So, Jacqueline Shaw, thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited to go deep with you in all areas. Welcome.
My gosh, thank you. I am so excited to be here. And I mean, deep is where I like to go. So let's do it.
Let's do it. So for the women listening right now who are hearing your name for the first time, can you kind of dive into the big question of who are you and who are you here for?
Oh my gosh. Well, I am here for women who are ready to just be so unapologetic in their nature, to be willing to just stand in their power and their truth and the conviction, leading from leading from the divinity within them, leading from their divine self, leading from that connection to what makes them tick, what fuels you. And who I am. I'm a woman who very much leads from a place of connecting to the God within me, from speaking my truth, from being unapologetic in who I am. And, I walk a lot of holy fire moments. I stand for women not betraying themselves. I stand for my willingness to be misunderstood, because I'm so deeply willing to stand in my truth, my power unapologetically, that at times gets misunderstood and gets uncomfortable. And the call for me, and that I believe for all of us, is can we be more of who we are? Can we be more of who we are with our voices and our brand and our businesses?
Oh my gosh, I'm getting goosebumps, because yes, to all of that, I feel like so often we feel we have to, quote, play small or stay in these boxes and why do you want more and all these? So I feel like this is such a conversation to go deeper into. Was there a moment, a specific moment, when you knew that you were meant to lead women this way, or did it slowly build slowly?
I mean, there was a specific moment where I knew I was meant to lead women in conversations that felt very truth forward, conversations that were disruptive, conversations that felt uncomfortable to have. And that was when my daughter was 3 weeks old. I remember the moment sitting in the park with her, and I had just been through an experience that I call my spiritual smackdown. That's the title of my book. It's a spiritual memoir, and it's called Spiritual Smackdown. And it was right on the other side, or not on the other side, kind of in the midst of this experience, I would actually say, when she was 3 weeks old, that I very clearly had this knowing inside of me that the experience I had been experiencing was for me. And it was also for me to share the journey through it and the wisdom that came through it. And so I committed then to bringing truth forward. It did take me 8 years to write the book. So I was in resistance to that particular flame of truth for a while. But from there, I mean, I'd say that was the initial spark of it. And then there's been a deeper calling, over the years and the years that I've been leading as a mentor and online in this way. It's can you this is feeling uncomfortable, but this is where your truth is calling you. Can you actually go there? And I mean, a lot of what I speak about is disruptive in nature. I talk about God a lot. I talk about money a lot. I talk about God and money in the same sentence, which people tend to brings up a lot for people. But I think these are important conversations to be having as women. Can I speak truth, receive truth, lead from the place of truth? Can I receive in overflow and abundance? Can I walk and lead and speak as the divine woman that I am.
Have you always been intuitive, like with yourself? Because you're saying 8 years ago you had that inkling of the book. So something had to make you be like, okay, I'm listening.
I'd say yes and no. I truly believe it's within all of our true nature to be intuitive. I believe that we are all so deeply connected to what I call the God within us, and we forget. And that forgetting is also part of the human experience. And so, yes, I'd say I've been connected in the moments that I choose to remember who I am as a divine being, but I've also forgotten a lot. I've also ignored the red signs. I've also felt intuitive nudges and been like, "Oh, that's silly," or "That's ridiculous," or, whatever it is, and not listened. But really, particularly at this time, my spiritual smackdown such a period of my life when I was pregnant with my daughter. And right from the beginning, it was sparked by something that I felt intuitively, and honoring that, even though my human didn't want to pay attention, even though my human wanted to be like, can we just close the lid on that and pretend that didn't happen? And so really it was an 8-month journey while I was pregnant with my daughter of getting so quiet, listening to that voice within me, being willing to actually hear what I call the voice of God from within me, and be it going against what my human wanted to choose many, many times. And so at that point, when I was sitting in the park with her, I did feel it so clearly. And I was like, okay, I was in such a place of trust, surrender, let go, and let God frequency, because I felt honestly, I was a bit no optioned into it, that I was like, okay, I hear it as truth. I receive it as truth. I'm going to move from this truth. Even though it took me 8 years, I still the whole time for the 8 years, I knew I was going to do it. It just was it was, I want to say, getting brave enough a bit, but it was more so, I told myself for 8 years, I'm not someone who desired to write books. I'm not someone who desired to become an author. It wasn't on the dream board, the vision board, the whatever bucket list. And so I really resisted that part. I actually resisted picking up the pen. I was like, I don't want to know how to write a book. I don't even really part of me is I don't even want to write a book, but I know that I'm being called to write this book. And I had to eventually just decide I am going to write the book. I am the author of this story.
Oh, I love that. Okay, let's talk to that a little bit more. When you finally decided that this is what you're going to do and you are that author, what did it unlock within you? What have you learned?
Well, I will tell you that I'd say it took me 8 years and 3 weeks to write the book, because it took me 8 years to decide I'm an author. And then I wrote the book in 3 weeks. And then I wrote my second book in 7 weeks. And I'm now writing my third book. And then I also have a publishing deal that includes for my third book, my fourth book, my fifth book. And so turns out the girl in me who didn't know how to write and who didn't want to write, well, she really loves to write.
I love that. And to just do, right? Just start. If something's sitting in your mind at some point, you'll figure out why eventually.
Yeah. And people have asked me too, they're like, why so quickly? Why did you then write in 3 weeks? Why 7 weeks? And the first book did have a deadline, did have a timeline on it. And that also is just how I operate. I'm not someone who, I change, and things change for me so rapidly right now, especially that I feel if I took a year to write a book, I'd be like, did I already write this? Did I write this last week? I just like to pour my energy all in very immersively into what I'm doing. And so for 3 weeks, it was that's what I did. For 3 weeks outside of being a mom, and, I wrote a book.
You're speaking my language. Are you a manifesting generator?
I'm not. I'm a projector.
Are you?
And
oh my gosh.
Sometimes surprises people too. I'm a projector, but that's my environment in my human design is a cave. And so I was I'm just going into my cave, and I really honored that experience for myself. I was living in Costa Rica at the time. I'd walk on the beach and friends would be like, let's go for a smoothie date. Let's go for a surf. Let's do this. And I'd be like, I am not committing to anything until this book is written. So if I see you, I see you, and we want to take a walk, sure. But I'm really just in my own cave doing my thing. And so I just yeah. Because here's the thing too, once I picked up the pen, it really felt I couldn't stop. It's once you open that and you own that, and I was I'm going to write this book, it really it feels like the book wrote itself.
Oh my gosh. I can't wait to read it. I'm going to dive in soon.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Read it, or if you like to listen to audio,
did you
or
audio it too? I love audio.
I
Yeah.
narrate the audio myself as well.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's so good. Okay, let's talk about something you also said, money and God. So you've also said a line, God signs my 7-figure paycheck. Take me into what you actually mean when you say that.
Yeah. So I went from a place of like operating in my business, and I was in a business partnership before, and it was a very successful business, like a multiple 7-figure brand. And it was very much based off of, our energy, like what we could control, what we could make happen. And I was really attached to like, you know, the story, the experiences I had of like, working really hard to get paid. Everything like needs to be very transactional. You have to do the right thing. You have to make sure you do this in order to scale. And I honestly just started to feel a bit exhausted with it. I felt like I was constantly, and I mean, I love my work. I love what I do, but I actually remember this one moment like so clearly that I was at the beach with my kids. We were like swimming in the waves, floating in the ocean, and I wasn't really present there. It's like I was playing with them in the ocean, but my mind was on like, and what are you going to do next to scale your business? And what are you going to do this? And I was like, I just like don't want to live like this anymore. I don't want to feel like I've always like got to be on and figuring things out and in control. And at this point, I mean, this was many years after my spiritual smackdown. And it's like in your life, you like hand things over to God. In your life, you're willing to like release, let go, surrender, to play in the unknown, to allow things to unfold. It's like, why in your business are you like clenching so tight? Why are you controlling everything? Why are you the one that needs to be in the driver's seat when in your life you let God be in the driver's seat? And I just like decided that I was like, I want to build in a different way. And at this point, I was just embarking on the journey of starting my personal brand, and I was completing in that business partnership. And I was like, yeah, I can do it this way. And I can talk about building a business, and I can show up as a business mentor. And I was like, that's not really the calling. Like that always felt like it was like the pathway, maybe the stepping stone, even. It's like, what are you like really here for? And it's like, this is like me and my walk with God and my journey with God and creating with God. And so letting God sign the paychecks, and that's what it feels like, letting God sign the paychecks, like trusting in, I mean, most of my biggest moments of expansion have been when I just let myself like enter the field of the unknown, like saying I feel complete in a multiple 7-figure business, not knowing what's coming on the other side, but like entering the unknown where I believe is God's playground and letting him show up in deliverance and letting God bring the right connections and people in front of me. And I have these, the ideas that get sparked within me that doesn't feel like I'm creating from my mind, but it's like God placed that idea in you, even though you don't know how it's going to work out. Like, can you move on it? Can you operate from there? Can you activate in that way? And so it did require me a lot of things that I was like keeping hidden, and I was like only reserving for my private clients. It was like, no, bring that forward, be more of who you are. And so when I say God signs my paychecks, my core offering and my brand is a mastermind called Employed by God. The core belief behind this is that when we're willing to be the truth of who we are and unapologetic in our nature and show up that way and as the conduit of God and the voice of God and like really, really willing to not hold back, that is what opens up like more being available to you, more wealth, more abundance, more, of the human experiences that we desire.
I love that. And even going back to when you were speaking of being the mom and sitting there and trusting and being present. And we do that daily as moms, right? Like we have to trust the process, but it's so easy to almost will away time sometimes because we're so caught up in what things should look like. And so being present, not just as the parent, as the mom, as the, the partner, the friend, but then in our business is also so important, but that it doesn't overtake us.
Yeah. And that's what like I was finding a lot. It was like I was either like, like just like trying like handing off things, like not wanting to do things like with my kids because I knew then I would be like still in my mind. So like things like, I mean, we unschool our kids, but when we live in Costa Rica, they go to this like incredible space up the mountain. And it was like, I want to like drive up the mountain with them and like have conversations with them and blast the music and be there, not actually be somewhere else in my head.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And unschooling your kids. I'm so fascinated by this concept too, but I think especially in the world of where we are and how things are changing, they just need so much exposure in different ways. Was this a choice that you guys started at the very beginning?
It was like I knew before I had kids that I really like that was the pathway for me. And within that, there's been so many different experiences for my kids within that, because part of unschooling is really like it's child led, like they get to lead. And so both of my kids have actually, for very short periods of time, chose to go to school. My daughter went to school for 6 weeks earlier this year, and she wanted to try it and she got to try it. But when we lived in BC, they did 3 days a week at an outdoor nature school where they were like just immersed in nature and learning there. When we're in Costa Rica, they go to what I would call like a spirit/art school. Right now, they're both doing a version of an online school, which is leading to my son loves to play basketball and he wants to go to like high school and play basketball. So it's like, okay, well then there is some like schooling. And so this is what he's chosen to do. But it really, I live again very just like unconventionally in my life. And so choosing things that really like work for me and my kids and our family.
Quick pause, and I want to speak directly to you for a second. If you've been listening to this podcast thinking, this hits, but I need support actually applying it, that's exactly why I built the Momentum Collective. It's a coaching space for women who don't want more information. They want clarity, accountability, and real forward movement. Inside, we focus on building momentum in your health, your mindset, your goals, and your life without burning yourself out. If you're ready to stop circling the same goals and start taking consistent action, the Momentum Collective might be exactly what you've been looking for. You can find all the details in the show notes. Okay, back to the episode. Well, that's a beautiful allowance for your kids to also witness and to know that they can be what's meant for them.
Yeah. And it's fascinating too. Like I actually write about this in my second book and in part of this experience, and knowing that you're in Vancouver, I was like a few years ago, not a few years ago, I guess this was like before 2020, I was out for dinner with, it was for my best friend's birthday and she lives in West Vancouver, and we were like at this table, and I don't even know how it came up to school. And I was like talking about unschooling, and I'm just like there going off and like talking about like how great it is and how much I love it is and stuff. And then after, her husband was like laughing. It's like basically like everyone at that table was like on boards of private schools or kids go to private schools. Like, and they were just like looking like at me that they were so fascinated. I was like, he's like, yeah, because they really were fascinated. Like, what is this woman on?
I love that. Totally.
Again, sharing different perspectives. But then why I know the timing of it was, then I think it was a couple weeks later that like the world shut down, school shut down, and they were all like, did you manifest this for us that we all now have to unschool our kids, homeschool our kids? Right. What are they looking and taking from that? Yeah, absolutely. So this, I feel like, is full expression in how you live, but what does full expression actually look like in a business? Like, is it on Instagram? Is it on a sales page? Is it in a room? Is it all of it? Like, how do you really live in full expression? I honestly feel like it's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's all of it. Can I just be so willing to be the truth of who I am? And one of the big places this did start for me and for my business was through social media, was specifically through Instagram. I found that like on my podcast, it felt so easy to be fully who I am. And because we get to drop into conversations and go deeper, it was like, it's really easy for me to express myself on my podcast. And I was like, why does it feel so much harder to do it writing an Instagram post? And I mean, like literally, like I can, record a podcast, and whether the podcast, I used to do these 7 and 11 minute riffs. It's like, I can like 7, 11 minutes, like drop in, lead something powerful, but it was taking me like an hour, 2 hours to write an Instagram post at times. And I was like, why? Like, what's going on here? And it was like, because I was trying to follow formulas. I was trying to make it sound a certain way. I was trying to figure out how to get people to buy, how to get people to move. I was trying to follow the, blueprint that that I was definitely taught from like a business coach of like, and you have to take people from A to B, and you have to have this hook, and you have to have this line. And so I would just get so in my mind about, am I doing this right? Does this sound right? What if I move this sentence from the bottom to the top? Does this make it like,
yeah. And the funnel that comes and all the emails you don't want to have follow that. And it's just like so much.
Yeah. Yes. And I was like, my gosh. And I honestly just literally started with like, this is the intention. I was like, I am going to use social, like I'm going to stop creating for social media. And I'm going to start allowing what I create to be shared on social media. And so then I would share like my thoughts. I would share my beliefs. I would share my contemplations. And I always, like every time I went to then write, I shifted it from what am I going to say to get people to move, to get people to buy, to convince people, to move people from A to B to C. It was honestly just very intentional. It's like, I'm going to show up and allow my truth to be like felt, heard, witnessed. I'm going to allow others to receive. I'm going to allow others to receive from me being the truth of who I am. And it just really started with that pure intention. And I stopped trying to like manage it. I stopped trying to like figure it out of how to get people to move. And this was part of the like really like employed by God frequency. Like if I'm the truth of who I am, I'm going to let God figure the rest out, like open the pathway, show up in deliverance, bring the people forward, create the resonance.
Yeah. And just be. I think we try and control so much, right? And being able to drop into that state, as you're saying too, is just so profound and needed and unapologetically yourself.
Yeah. And it goes, I often get asked like, but have you always operated this way? And like I shared with you before, like, no, I actually ran a business very much in different energy. And I was just like, I'm no longer willing to perform. I'm no longer willing to perform for the algorithm, the internet, the clients that might come. Like, I just really want to connect with the people who hear my voice and feel the truth in my words and want to go deeper.
I think that's so important because we are such everyone's not knowing what to do for the algorithm these days, and it needs to look a certain way if you're going to get this many followers. It's like, oh my gosh, who's supposed to be with you will find you. Just keep being you.
I do not have a huge following on Instagram, on social media. My Instagram, my following like hasn't really grown in years, to be honest. And my income continues to grow, and what I've created continues to grow, and my impact continues to grow. And, with the same amount of following, I used to have, 10 people in a mastermind, and now I have 180 people in a mastermind. And it's like, I didn't play by any of the rules, and I don't play by any of the rules.
What does your relationship with God look like inside of your business?
Inside of my business, I mean, I feel like I almost like hesitated there because for me, there really isn't like a separation between like how I move with God in my business, in my life. And so it really is like everything comes from like here, like tapping like the center of my chest. It's like God mode, God led. Again, really recognizing that for all of us, I believe like our experience here is about our walk with God and being the truth of who we are. And so I really bring that into my business. I bring that into how I show up to speak. I bring that into my leadership. I'm so willing to not know and lead powerfully. So not knowing, being like, and this is the truth right now. And this is what I feel right now. And this is the calling right now. And that may change, and my truth may change, and I may contradict myself 3 years from now because my beliefs change. And it's really like that permission. And I feel like this is so needed for women in the world, for business leaders, for women, for mothers. Everyone's like, can you give yourself more permission, like to be who you are right now, not who you were a year ago or 5 days ago, even like, who am I today? Who do I choose to be today? And not from this place of like, I need to become someone other than I am. It's like who you are right now is like who you've been called to be. Like who you are right now is magic and beauty and love and power, and like allowing yourself just to continue to grow.
And not apologize for that. Yeah.
Yeah. And not from this, like, again, this like fix it lens, or I need to heal more or fix things. It's like, I do really strongly feel like just the calling is always like, can I be more of who I am in this now moment?
I love that. I totally agree. I coach with Who Am I Now? Because we're ever evolving and we hope that everything around us changes and has seasons, and we hope our kids, grow and change and evolve, and there's just some weird thing that us women feel we need the permission to now change through the next phases of our life, and we don't.
Yeah. No, become your own permission slip, please.
Yeah. So unapologetic wealth. So say more on this. Like, why is even the unapologetic the word in here?
Because I feel like we tend to really, again, and I think mostly as women too, we want to justify our wealth. We want to prove we're worthy of the wealth, that we've done something to deserve it. And for me, the employed by God frequency, the God signs my paychecks, it's like because he signs it in accordance of me being who I am, because I'm willing to be the truth of who I am. And so again, that unapologetic nature that comes through everywhere. If the more unapologetic I am in who I am and fully owning it and fully expressing it, the more wealth that moves through my hands. I absolutely believe wealth in the hands of women is good for the world. And I think really owning that and being so, we're taught to be good girls, and we're taught to be don't want too much. And is that greedy? Is that selfish? You already have enough. Just be grateful. Why do you want more? And it's because with more, I get to experience more, do more, impact more, all of it.
You keep saying impact, and that's actually my word of the year, but that's a mission of mine too. And I feel like it is so much of a word and mission for so many women, because the more that we can impact one person at a time, the more reach we all have.
Yeah. And that collective ripple of impact as well. And so, I mean, when I remember this post I wrote years ago when I was first, shifting from I'm a business coach to I lead with God and I am a spiritual mentor first. It was in this essence of imagine if people who are the spiritual teachers of the world are the people that are paid the highest, because again, what that represented to me, being willing to be who we are, to be that trailblazer, to pave that pathway. And again, it is going to keep coming back to the word being unapologetic for me. I think there's so much in especially spiritual mentorship and leadership of you shouldn't want for more. And if it's a spiritual gift, why do you need to get paid? And why do you need to get paid so much for that? And for me, it's this really is the pathway forward. Let wealth move through the hands of women with missions, women who are connected to the divinity of who they are.
I love that. Yes. And money, it can be such a conversation that's hard for so many, but when we look at it as energy and what we're able to do with that, and again, going back to impact and being unapologetic for it, it just opens so much more to the world.
I mean, if I look at my journey with writing, and so one of my prayers the last year or two has been, God, allow my voice to vibrate around the world, having that impact. And the first book that I published, it cost money to publish. It costs money to publish. It costs money to print. It costs money to get it out there. I have a publishing deal for my other books, and so it's different in that way. But it's that, for my voice to vibrate around the world through a book, it costs money to literally create and print the book. I speak on a lot of stages right now, and I mean, I am at the place where I do get paid to speak on stages, but I didn't before. And so traveling places to speak on stages and flights and hotels, that costs money. And so just right there, it's having impacts with your voice and having the means to do things like that. I strongly believe though that it's my voice is meant to be heard around the world, and that my medicine is a gift. And so yeah, wealth in my hands does great things.
Does great things. So if a woman's listening right now and she has this vision within her, but she's still hiding, what would be the first thing you would want her to hear?
I mean, the real thing that I want women to hear is that we need you. We need women to get loud with their vibration, loud with their voices, loud with their magic, loud with their medicine. And I'm using the word loud, and interesting enough, I'm a bit more quiet in nature, I would say, but loud, I don't even mean loud in your pitch or loud you've got to shout it, but like loud energetically, loud in your vibration, loud in, again, being so unapologetic in who you are. But you have to believe in you first. Like you have to know that the world is ready for your voice and your flavor of magic and medicine. Because when you're feeling like it doesn't even matter or who's listening, like don't even do it for who's listening at the beginning. Don't do it in order to be seen and to be heard. Do it to be the expression of who you are.
Yes. Do it for you.
Huh.
The rest will follow.
And this is what, like, I remember the first time saying this, I was leading it was a free offering, and there was like 300 people on this call. And I said, I am actually doing this for me, not for you. And people were like, what? Like you're giving and you're mentoring and you're serving. What do you mean it's not? And I'm like, no, like this for me, like I get off this call and I'm like so connected to who I am as a divine being. I'm so connected to my truth. And so it is for me first, and it gets to at the same time serve others. But if we leave ourselves out of the equation, that to me actually isn't true service.
That's so beautifully said. No.
Yeah.
And by showing up for you first gives that unnecessary permission for everyone else to also do the same, right?
Yeah. Like I want women to experience, like I could have podcast conversations like this all day long because like it gives me life. Like this is what I want women to experience with their life, their business, because you're speaking, you're moving from your soul. It's not draining. And again, coming from someone who used to find their business very draining because it was all calculated. It was all like in my mind. It was all overthinking. It was all complicated. And we tend as humans to make life very complicated. And that's so much simpler. Like I promise you this, it's so much simpler when you're just like willing, like this is me. And some people are going to like it. And some people like it, leave it. Some people are going to love you. Some people are going to hate you. Some people are going to judge you. Some people are going to misunderstand you. None of it's your business. Your business is for you to be who you are. It's like again, back to you and your walk with God.
We put so much like stress and pressure on ourselves, but when we're able to just like get into those quiet, what really truly matters in the end, as you said, sitting on the beach, watching your kids, being able to lead from God through you, making impact. I mean, really at the end of the day, it's so beautifully simplified.
Oh my gosh. I just, led my in-person experience. This is the first I've been called to do this for years. And this is the first time I've led it. And I've already got a date for it next year because like it was so incredible for the women, but it was called Without Words. And what you just shared there. So it was a 5-day experience. And 3 of the days, the women were in silence at the experience and they received through, different experiences. And I led activations for them, but being in silence with yourself for 3 days, like connecting back to that, like, I mean, you said just like sitting on the beach with your kids for like a few, however long it is, like 3 days, like when you're really willing to sit with yourself and to shut out the outside noise, like they had no devices, no access to social media, like really sitting with yourself. Oh my gosh, like what moved through these women, that again, that unapologetic nature, that willingness of like, yeah, like you got to be willing to. Yeah, like what a gift. And I think you can come to a retreat and do that, but you can do that sitting with yourself. Like, are we actually willing to sit with ourselves, to get quiet, to listen to the God within, that divine voice within us?
I have loved this conversation. And I think there's so many sparks of what we all need to try and make more time for. And literally, it's almost for more of nothing, more quiet.
It's like more stillness, more being, more. I mean, honestly, I feel like in this industry, like really more embodiment of our work. It's like, don't just preach it, like actually live it, actually be it. If you, like, I think honestly, like most women, what they really need is to like take their own medicine. Like actually, like if you live by what you preach, your life will change so quickly.
Yep. Amen to that. Well, where can everyone find you, find your books? So the first 3, are they all out already?
No, only the first book is out right now. So Spiritual Smackdown was released in the fall. Whispers of the Divine isn't being released till next fall, but I do have a wait list for that we could link in the show notes where if people are interested, they can actually get it 3 months before it hits the bookshelves. So there's I don't even know how that happens, but I'm like, that feels fun. I was just like told this by my publisher. And then I'm just starting to write the third. I'm just starting to write the third book. So yeah, book 1 is out, book 2 is coming, and book 3 will be on the way. And honestly, the easiest way to find me, the best place where I hang out online is on Instagram, and it's at the Jacqueline Shaw. And I love going deeper. I love conversations. I love messages in my DMs to have these conversations.
Well, thank you so much for showing up here today for me and for everyone listening. We will definitely tag everything in the show notes, and really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me. I'm definitely I'm happy that we've connected, and I'm excited to continue to have our paths intertwine.
Likewise. Thanks so much for tuning in today. If today's conversation resonated, then ask yourself what one small action you can take from it. Because momentum isn't built in big, dramatic moments. It's built in a quiet follow-through, the honest choices, and the decision you make when no one's watching. If you loved this episode, the best way to support the show is to subscribe, leave a review, or share it with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, you don't have to choose between showing up for your life and going after your potential. This is your permission to stop playing small. I'll see you next time.